Hello and welcome to the Pint and Click podcast from Des Plaines Public Library. I'm joined by Tony as always, but today we have Jackie here instead of Jamie. We're here to discuss all the media of the day, the books, the magazines, movies, video games, and more. We start with each of us talking about one thing that we really enjoyed recently, and then we'll move on to a group discussion about Deadpool, which we all actually saw opening weekend. So we'll start with Tony. Tony, what do you have today?
Okay, I brought a documentary called I Am Chris Farley. It's a fairly straightforward documentary about the comedy legend Chris Farley. I would say it's a very good watch if you're a fan of improv comedy or a fan of SNL or a fan of comedy as it is today, because I feel like Chris Farley was hugely influential in my understanding of what funny can be, and almost like a part of my family growing up. The VHS that we owned of Chris Farley's movies, we just watched over and over again. So watching this brought back a ton of memories. And his SNL skits were also very heavily influential in my comedy education. So,
now, is it a lot of clips from various shows? Is it more of a documentary about his life?
It is a documentary about his life, but it includes those clips
great.
In a lot of different places. So there's a lot of SNL clips. It goes back to a David Letterman interview where he comes, cartwheeling onto stage and just has this explosive energy. And it's just completely people, if you talk to someone that has seen Chris Farley on anything, you kind of know, as I said that to you guys, it's just a hilarious thing to see. And just obviously Chris Farley was taken from us way too early at 33 and through, the drug and alcohol abuse. And the documentary doesn't dwell in that too much, though it does make you conscious of it, and it builds this narrative over the course of the documentary. So I think it's very good in helping you understand the problem that he might have had. One example of this from the film is how he always loved to have a team and have this environment of nurturing and helping him excel and be a leader. So even from his high school years, he really wanted to be in football and just loved the energy and the attention that he was part of football. Sure. And then rugby in college, and everybody was crazy and he was able to be the craziest of the crazy people within that group. So it bled into the comedy world. They interview some of the rugby friends and everything, and a lot of the comedy legends kind of that were his co-conspirators, Dan Aykroyd, David Spade, Bob Saget, and Adam Sandler in this film, just kind of remarking upon it. But one of the things that really sent him in a lot of the downward spirals and the different things that challenged him was when he was unable to be part of that team anymore, and when he left SNL, kind of had to, I think producers switched up and he had to kind of be forcibly removed from SNL. So I'd say the movie does a great job of painting that picture without drilling it into you too hard.
How would you describe its tone? You mentioned that it touches on that stuff without dwelling on it. So is it lighter in tone? And
yeah, a lot of it, I'm surprised that this movie came out and it's kind of still so recent, 2015. But a lot of it seems like the fondness you'd have for a friend, and it's finally soon enough where people, one of the interviewees was just does everybody cry during this? Because he was so attached to this person and the mark that he left. So I would say that it's felt through proxy of what they're feeling. Sure, it goes into the childhood and goes into these pictures of him kind of at his prime, but it doesn't really show you kind of the fearful and crazy side of what you imagine a druggy Chris Farley would be.
That's good, because it's not exploitative.
Right.
It's not trying to highlight the darker parts of it and say the Chris Farley that you laughed at as a kid, and here's what he's really like.
Right.
And it's also probably how he'd rather be remembered, is for the companionship and for being funny. And so a documentary that speaks closer to that is going to be closer to introducing him to somebody new, someone young who's never seen Chris Farley,
right,
or the way I'd like to remember him.
Right.
Yeah, so I would definitely check it out, especially if you know young people that maybe don't know who Chris Farley is yet or haven't Googled it or whatever. So
yeah, it's really cool.
Okay, I see we have a copy here at the library. Is it available anywhere else?
Actually, haven't checked whether it's on Netflix or not, but no, I'm sure it's out there. It's still relatively new.
Okay,
it's probably
great.
Circulating.
All right, Jackie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
What are you eager to discuss today?
I would like to talk about a movie by the director Don Hertzfeldt that is available on Netflix. It's called It's Such a Beautiful Day. And I saw it for the first time just while browsing through. If you're not familiar with Don Hertzfeldt, he tends to do films featuring stick figure drawings.
Oh, yeah, maybe I've seen this.
I
don't
think
know.
you've probably seen it because there was a thing he made in 2000 that was, I think it was nominated for an Oscar. I'm not 100% sure what the deal with that was, but it was very popular at the time.
Right.
But this one is called It's Such a Beautiful Day, and it's his first feature-length film. It's not just shorts. And it's somewhat like an illustrated storybook in a way. It's told through narration of what's going on rather than dialogue and such. And, you've got these stick figures that he's known for going throughout its day and, telling the story. And it's about a character named Bill going through a hard time in his life. He's having what at first seems to be mental illness and is later revealed what is actually going on with him. And it takes him from that time in his life and his ordinary day. It's a bit dark humor, a little absurdist. It'll describe something that he sees on the sidewalk very calmly. And then he moves along and it kind of points out how futile his life is right now.
Sure. When you say stick figures, what does it actually look like? Is it 2D, black and white, is it color, or is it?
It is 2D.
Okay.
It is mostly black and white. As time goes on, there's flashes of color. There's sometimes the stick figures are against a photograph background.
Oh, I see. Sure.
So he plays with that media a lot. There's a lot of, as Bill's life unfurls, there's a lot of dissonant sounds. That's another thing that Don Hertzfeld's shorts tend to have in them. Mm-hmm. The colors tend to clash and, everything comes to a head and then it calms down again.
I see. How long is this? You say it's his first feature. Is it an hour and a half, 2 hours, 1 hour?
It's around an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. For the first few minutes that you're hearing this third-person narration, you kind of wonder how he's going to build an entire movie out of that or if it's eventually going to turn into something else, but it never does. The narration is throughout. He keeps it the same consistent tone throughout, and it's a really interesting watch.
So you're talking about it's dark humor. It sounds a little... Is it slow at times, or is it interesting? Is it scary at times?
I would call it steady. I wouldn't call it scary exactly. It's scary if you have ever contemplated your own mortality and your own sanity and what it might be like to... he kind of puts you in this guy's head and what it might be like to actually be going through this.
Sure. What about this appealed to you? Was it the art? Was it the story?
First, as soon as I saw Don Hertzfeld, his style and his name, I was on it because I was into that. I remember the first time I saw any of his shorts, I was in high school and I watched it with my friends and we pretty much were on the floor laughing the entire time. It's not quite that hilarious.
Okay.
It is funny.
Good.
I would call it funny, at least in an absurd kind of way. But it's also surprisingly heartfelt and in its own way uplifting at the end.
Sure.
It kind of leaves you with a peaceful feeling of having seen this guy and you know what happens to him now. Without spoiling anything, of course.
Thank you.
It sounds very unique, and I'm trying to get a grasp of if I've seen anything like it, or could you compare it to, I mean, even the humor, the style of humor?
Yeah, I can't think of anything quite exactly like it. It's recommended on Netflix under other kind of quirky independent films, but yeah.
Sure, I'm trying to think of the director of a movie, and I can't bring it up. My Winnipeg is the name of the movie, and I'm trying to remember the name of the director. But it's a biographical, documentary, and what you're describing is he does a ton of kind of voiceover, but it's black and white, and it doesn't sound autobiographical in any way. It's simply a story.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, have you ever heard of the podcast Welcome to Night Vale?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you say that it's anything similar to that?
I think if you like Night Vale, you might enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah. If you enjoy that, there's also another short of his. It's 16 minutes long on Netflix, also called World of Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's a sci-fi-ish, futuristic kind of thing, similar with the stick figures, featuring a future clone of a person talking to herself as a little girl. So the little girl is very young and very naive and has no idea what's going on. Why is this person talking to me? She's trying to show her the future 200 years later, and and all the amazing, fantastical things, and this little girl's just, oh, okay, look at my cars. So that's also worth checking out if you enjoy that.
What was that one called?
World of Tomorrow.
Both on Netflix.
Both on Netflix.
Great.
Very good. Easy to find. Okay, well, thank you, Jackie. I'm here to talk about The Witness. The Witness is a video game. It is available on a couple of platforms, PC and PS4, and it's going to be coming to iPad eventually, as well as some other platforms. Let me ask you guys a question. This is very important for this game. Do you like mazes?
Yes, I do.
can.
You like mazes in a book. If you like mazes, then this is the best maze game you'll ever play in your life. It is all about mazes. So the game is called The Witness. There is no more setup than that. Like, you open your eyes, the game begins. You are a person on an island, and there are panels throughout this world, screens, squares, that have mazes on them. And as you complete a maze, another maze unlocks. And then you complete that maze, and then another maze unlocks. And there are hundreds of mazes to do. So if you like mazes, you'll love this game. But there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of subtlety, there's a lot of depth. It's created by Jonathan Blow, who previously created the game Braid. You may have seen him in Indie Game The Movie, if you've watched that. That's on Netflix, where it follows some independent video game developers. And it had showed him just after Braid had finished, and kind of him dealing with the success and strange interpretation. He makes very meta games where it's not about the game so much as how you feel about the game and think about the game and wonder about the interactions you've had with the game. So that was his first game, Braid. Now he's on to The Witness. And it's difficult to discuss without spoilers because the game is completing mazes. And as you go, the mazes become different. They become complicated. It's not all traced from the beginning to the end. Some of them will have, well, now there's some white dots and some black dots. What do you do? And it's like, I don't know what to do. But you find the part of the island that teaches you how to solve that kind of maze. And then it opens up this other part of the island that shows you a new kind of maze with Tetris blocks or different colors or different shapes. And so as you explore this island, you find some very strange things. You find what appears to be people frozen in stone. You don't know how they got there. You don't know why they're suddenly become stone, or are they actually statues? No way to know. The game is all sound design, no music at all. So it's all, you hear the wind in the trees, you hear your feet walking along the ground, walking along the concrete. And these are incorporated into the occasional design. So let me give you an example. There's an area of the game that's called the Keep. And there are hedge mazes in the Keep. You know, classic waist-high hedges that you wander through and get to the end. Well, the first one is an ordinary hedge maze, no big deal. The second one has overgrown grass in certain parts and multiple ways to finish the maze. But the only correct way to finish the maze is not to step on the overgrown grass. So you learn, okay, so there doesn't need to be a hedge necessarily to indicate a dead end. There just has to be this grass here. Okay, well, I understand. I found the way through where I don't step on the grass. You go to the next puzzle. The next puzzle, the hedge maze is almost wide open, but the sound of your footsteps will change in certain areas. You're like, oh, now I have to complete this maze without stepping on the echoey footstep sound. And so as you go through, the mazes get a little bit different, a little bit tougher, and you feel absolutely brilliant when you figure out some of these mazes. Like, oh my God, I'm the smartest person in the world. This was so hard to do, but I've overcome it. And so then it just feeds more and more. I want to play more mazes. I want to finish more areas.
Nice.
So would you say it's good for somebody who likes puzzles, even if it's not mazes specifically?
A little bit, yeah. It transcends mazes. It's bigger and better than mazes, but it's still just like, if you look at screenshots, it's here's a picture of a maze.
Right.
And that is it. But there's hundreds of these mazes, and these mazes are not like those mazes. And some mazes are two different concepts combined into one maze. I think it would be great for people who aren't gamers. People who are like, I like this type of game, I like that type of game. Because this game is very accessible. Everyone knows what a maze is. Everyone did mazes when they were kids. And it's just that, but a little bit more involved and a little bit more creative.
Yeah, it reminds me of, it sounds like a really complicated version of a video game I played when I was a kid on PC called Lode Runner.
Sure.
Like in the early 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely similar to that.
You would kind of go through, and it was like a maze, but you also had to avoid these little fire guys and, make sure you got all the treasure and stuff like that.
Sure. Right now, it looks like it says it's on PS4 and it's coming to iPad?
iPad eventually. Yeah.
Okay,
and then it says other platforms. I'm not
Yeah.
sure which other platforms. I assume Xbox One, but that hasn't been guaranteed yet or anything.
I mean, it's great because the friends of mine that do play a lot of games and like are gamers, they're loving this game too. So I'm excited to see if it explodes in the casual gaming world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so-
This was on my radar for a long time before it came out because I knew Jonathan Blow. I knew about Braid. I had played Braid. And so I'm like, I can't wait for The Witness. But someday there's going to be people who have no idea about this game and it's on their iPad. And they're like, well, let me buy this and see what it is. And it's really good. And I hope they have a great time just picking it up out of nowhere. So the game is long. It's like 25, 40 hours to complete, depending on how much time you want to put into it. It was originally meant to be an 8-hour game. But then they ended up spending 8 years working on it, year after year, to make it better and better and better. And so now it's a 40-hour game. It's only $20 right now anyway. It might get cheaper. Probably when it comes to iPad, it'll be cheaper. But there is this strange atmosphere that something terrible has happened. These people are frozen in stone. There's a wrecked ship. You don't really know what's going on or why. You don't know if you can help. You don't know if you can make it worse. You're the witness. You just see it and interpret it. I haven't finished it yet, but I think I'm close. It's hard to know.
Yeah, I was going to ask if in the end, do you find out
I don't
what's
know.
going on?
I don't know. I honestly don't because I haven't
Okay.
finished the game, but maybe.
Yeah.
Sounds great. It sounds like even as someone who, like, I don't play tons of puzzlers, but it seems like the kind of thing I would love. It would probably end up hooking me. It just sounds like the type of thing, like, if you're in it a little, you're probably going to be in it a lot. Like,
Yeah.
if you like it just a little bit, you'll probably play a lot of it.
Yeah. And I don't play a lot of puzzle games either, and it's great for those, I'm stuck, I can't figure out what to do. And you take a break and come back tomorrow and you look at it and you're like, oh, this is easy. You just do this. You have those great moments of revelation where it's like, oh, this is so obvious now. I can't believe I was so dumb yesterday. But it's a lot of fun. You can put 40 hours into it or you can put 5 hours into it and get a lot of fun either way.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend. It's called The Witness. It's on PC and PS4, coming soon to iPad and other consoles.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay, so then we'll move on to our group discussion, which is about Deadpool, the movie that came out over Valentine's Day weekend. We've all seen Deadpool. I'll start real quick. I thought it was great. I had a ton of fun watching Deadpool. What did you think of Deadpool?
I loved it. I thoroughly did not expect to like it. I went into the movies ready to check my phone every 5 minutes to see how close we were to the end. Didn't look once.
Yeah,
Just totally enjoyed it.
great.
Yeah, I also really, really loved this movie, and I'm very into the superhero movies, and, Guardians of the Galaxy was at the top of my list, but this one has, like, kind of tied it, or
Maybe
I don't know
overtaken
how.
it?
Maybe overtaken it. I don't know how, but I'm still in shock of how much I like this movie.
So Deadpool is from director Tim Miller, who was previously a graphical artist, digital effects guy. That's his pedigree coming into the director spot. This is his first feature film. So it kind of makes sense that Deadpool, the character himself, is so strongly CG with the mask moving and things like that. Colossus is an entirely CG character. You kind of understand where this guy's coming from, and he knows how to do this stuff right.
Yeah.
Stars Ryan Reynolds, who plays Deadpool. This project has been a personal crusade for him, if you don't know. Ever since that Wolverine movie where he first played a terrible, weird version of Deadpool that nobody liked,
No.
he wanted to get a real Deadpool movie made, and he's been working all this time to get it done. It was actually some leaked footage, some test footage that they shot was leaked. They still don't know by who. No one will admit to it. But that kind of like got out in the fans' hands, and they saw it, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is great! Make this movie!" And Fox finally said, "Well, if all these people love it, we'll make this movie."
They should be grateful.
Yeah,
Somebody leaked that.
whoever leaked it, whether it was Tim Miller or Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds himself or somebody up there, must have been. So let me do just a little bit more backstory here. Deadpool I'm a big fan of Deadpool. I'm a big fan of the comics. I have been for years. So I know it's created by Rob Liefeld in the 90s when anti-heroes were king, when Spawn could not be bigger, when Batman was the coolest guy around, because anyone who was dark and brooding while they still saved the day was the biggest money you could make in comics. Image launched on anti-heroes, and Deadpool was created as an X-Men, originally as a villain, though like they kind of got away from that quick and made him an anti-hero, and more accurately, just a wisecracking jackass is what Deadpool is. He's fun, he's funny, but this movie brings out a lot of personal emotion. Like his humor comes from pain and how he deals with loss and how he deals with isolation.
Yeah, I was not expecting any kind of depth or anything like that based on the advertisements, based on the commercials and stuff, and based on what I know about Deadpool. Mm-hmm. I was thoroughly expecting an hour and a half of inappropriate humor and, funny. Yeah. Sure. Funny. Good. Yeah. But an hour and a half of that would have been a bit much by itself. Tiresome, exactly. Sure. I am really impressed with the way they didn't market it. They refused to market the love story at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They refused to budge on that. Mm-hmm. That was really impressive. Mm-hmm. I love that they did that. I actually saw something with Ryan Reynolds where he's talking about that. And he says they were talking about maybe, marketing that part of it to the women. And he was like, no, women love superheroes. What do you know?
Sure.
Go for this.
Yeah, let's not put them in a little box and market to them this way. Like, this is what this movie is.
Yeah.
And
let's make a good movie and they'll come.
And apparently they have a record-setting weekend for an R-rated movie, $140 million or something like that over 4 days. So good for them. Mm-hmm. This is the success story I wanted Ant-Man to be. Mm-hmm. Ant-Man was also a passion project that kind of sputtered and fell over towards the end, whereas this one is another passion project, another character I really love, and this one has exploded into critical success, box office success, and just my personal, I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, and literally beginning to end. There were no slow moments. There were nothing that was, extraneous detail or anything like that.
I groaned a little bit when they started to do the origin story because I'm like, oh, I forgot about origin stories. We haven't had an origin story in 4 years since Iron Man 1 and Thor 1 and all those way back when. Yeah. But they broke that up and mixed it with action. So it wasn't just, all right, it's going to be an hour of origin story, let's all hunker down and get through it, and then we'll have an hour and a half of an action movie. No, it was back and forth, and the scenes from the origin timeline would inform the current actions when Deadpool's, on the highway and talking to Colossus and talking to old friends and things like that.
Also, they didn't advertise anything about Colossus being in it. I didn't see anything about that beforehand. I don't know if anyone else did, but that was a fun surprise.
That was.
Yeah, so that was great. I didn't know.
Everybody knows Colossus for some reason, right?
Yeah,
I didn't know he was going to be in this. That was great.
And they really sold him well. They gave him a great character. Mm-hmm. I saw him as Deadpool's concerned uncle.
Yeah.
Just like, Deadpool, you're screwing up your life. You should get it together. You should come join the X-Men. You should. I loved his speech at the end without big spoilers, but I thought it wasn't a sappy ending, but if you're going to have a moral at the end of superhero movies, I hated Guardians of the Galaxy's, if we stick together, we're real strong. Whatever. That was, but Colossus's speech about 4 or 5 moments make you a hero, I thought that was excellent. And, really made a lot of sense.
And his very in-character response.
Very in-character. It made sense. That's the speech that you want to give Deadpool, and that's the speech that you want to give the audience. I thought that was great.
But then also, on a similar point, Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, both of their banter the entire time was how people actually talk, or the dialogue was really spot on. Like you guys were saying, it seemed like a concerned friend or someone that knew him from his past. I guess I want to drive home the point that not everything was plot advancing in that. Not all of those dialogues were really going anywhere all the time. It was a nice mixture of character development which like they took the time to do for
And
some reason. So
they've already announced a sequel. I
Yes.
think.
nice.
The sequel is in production. They're currently writing a script. There is, I forget the actor's name, but
They
there's an
got
actor.
on it right away.
He's campaigning to be Cable in the next movie, which would be great.
Sure.
Cable and Deadpool are inseparable in a lot of the comics. They're a duo. Cable, if you don't know, is Cyclops' son from the future. We won't get into that, but he's kind of the straight man to Deadpool's wacky character. So
I do have to wonder if they start including him in future X-Men movies, how are they going to handle the fourth wall breaking?
Well, and the swearing and violence. Like they can't necessarily have him decapitating everybody and shooting people in the head, right?
it depends.
You
I
know,
mean,
They could
unless it's
tone
rated
it
R.
down without...
they probably won't, because the X-Men movies are probably going to shoot for PG-13, and they're not going to want to shoot for
Right.
R, because PG-13 movies make more money. It's
Yeah.
just that simple. So I doubt if we see Deadpool in an X-Men movie, I bet he'll just be a couple of minutes here and there, make a joke, get off the screen, something like that, because that can totally derail a plot,
Yeah.
right? If you have this character...
he takes over things.
Yes.
I mean, that's...
Yes, and he's a narcissist, and
Yeah.
he loves to do so. So, yeah, that could be a problem. But
I can see them going about it like having him break the fourth wall for just a second, and then everyone else kind of, treating him like he's insane. Like, who are
Yeah.
you talking to?
Yeah.
What are you looking at over
they
there?
did that in this movie, too.
Yeah.
Colossus responds, and he says, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
And you realize, he's talking
Yeah,
to
and
us.
isn't that his deal in the comics, is that he's insane, right?
In some of the comics, it depends on the writer. He's been written for 25 years.
Right.
Your character's going to change over that time. But in several runs, specifically Daniel Way's run, he was literally schizophrenic.
Right.
He suffered from hallucinations, delusions of grandeur. He heard voices. He even showed some of the lesser symptoms, like the negative symptoms. He was tired all the time. He was depressed sometimes and things like that. But in the comic books, I don't think they even touch on it in the movie. He hears voices, and he'll have conversations with the voices. And the
Right.
voices even have personalities. You get to know this box from that box. Oh, this color is this voice, and that color is that voice. They didn't really do that so much. I don't think he was literally crazy in this
No.
movie. But
I
still,
don't
they
think so.
kept enough of the character alive where he's funny, and he's outgoing, and he speaks to the audience. He breaks the fourth wall. He even references comics. He references other movies. He's got the Deadpool figure from the Wolverine movie.
That's right, yeah.
And there was a line that the friend says when he looks at his face, you look like Ryan Reynolds mixed with the Sharpay, and that is actually a line from the comics that they put into the movie,
Oh,
which
wow.
makes a lot of sense because it is Ryan Reynolds. So I don't know how
It's
many
a-
layers that is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
several layers of meta and fourth wall
Right.
breaking that he does.
I think the actors were great all around. I really liked Leslie Uggams as the old blind lady, his only friend, because she
Yes.
can't see his face, and she puts up with him for whatever reason.
I like his friend. Who plays his
T.J.
his
Miller
his
plays
bespectacled
the
friend?
bartender.
That's the one.
T.J. Miller. His name is Weasel or something like that in the
Right.
movie. I don't think they even mention it. But he's real funny. He's on Silicon Valley,
Okay.
if you watch
Okay.
that show. He's the comic relief in a Deadpool movie is a very strange thing to say. But he's
Yeah.
kind of the dry humor, where Deadpool is the off-the-wall humor.
Great.
Recommended. We recommend
Highly
Deadpool.
recommend.
Yes,
yes.
recommended for sure.
The soundtrack is available at the Des Plaines Library on Hoopla. If you're a Des Plaines Library card holder, you can get that way. I'm sure we'll have the movie eventually, but it'll be a while before it comes out on DVD. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tony. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jackie, for being here today. That's our podcast. We'll see you next time on the Pint and Click podcast.